we have a problem. Each time we go into a country, we have to get a temporary import pass for our van. And generally that's good for the length of the stay. Well, recently we've had to extend our stay here in Colombia, migration for three months. The problem is our temporary import pass is set to expire. So today, I'm gonna take a walk over to the city center of Medellin. Now, Medellin is a city of about 4 million people, and it's made up of mostly like high-rises and apartment buildings. So it's a very densely populated city, and even though it's only 4 million people, it has the feel of a much larger city. And so I'm gonna be walking through the city streets to the city center where the DIAN office is, and I also have to do some chores. So I'm gonna take you guys along and show you anything interesting I find along the way. One of the things that attracted us to Medellin was there's just a lot of green spaces tucked away. And so as you walk through the streets of these big apartment buildings, they have all these little city parks, and you can always hear the birds. A lot of times people are walking dogs and other things, but there's shaded area, and the weather here is pretty good anyway, but just nice little areas of the nature. The first thing I have to do is come in and get some pictures of the van. I want them to see where it's parked, the license plate number and the VIN number. I'm hoping they don't request to physically see the van. So this is kind of a action to hopefully deter that. But you can see it's snugged up over here. But anyway, I like to come check on it every 2 or 3 days anyway to make sure it's okay. All right, mission accomplished. I got pictures of the van for the DIAN. This adventure today is about a 2-mile walk, one way. Now it's gonna take me up through this little comuna or neighborhood that we live in, Lorales. And Lorales is kind of where a lot of expats and foreigners end up staying in Medellin. There's a few communities. Poblato's another one that we hear a lot. But in any event, it's full of restaurants, bars, shops, ice cream stores, pretty much everything you need for living. It's lined with a bunch of apartments, mostly anywhere from 4 stories on up to 10 or 15 stories. And so this is really compact city living. But I wanted to show you this little community church. The first thing you might be thinking is it safe to walk around a city like Medellin? And well, we're gonna find out. I definitely feel very safe in our neighborhood. Like any city, there's areas that you need to be aware of. The city center is one of those, which is ultimately where we're headed. So I'm carrying a limited amount of cash. all I have is this one camera, a small backpack with my paperwork. So we're going to be cautious on that standpoint. And then also, I think a bigger worry is the traffic. The drivers here are just crazy. We're now out of the safety of our little community of Lorales, and we're kind of crossing into now what is a little bit of a marginal area. There's a lot of unfortunate homelessness, poverty. You can tell there's a lot of probably drug use and alcoholism in this area. So this is one of the areas that maybe is a little bit more questionable. So we're gonna have our guard up and be a little cautious through this area. But the fortunate thing is they have a pedestrian bridge, which is gonna help me get across this huge intersection. We're next to the most major road in Medellin. It goes from north to south all the way through the city. And you can see on this pedestrian space, I still have a tree canopy and a bit of nature and a little bit of green space. Again, even though we're in the big city, one of the things that I really like about Medellin, and so the pedestrian bridge that I'm on walks right alongside this main road of traffic headed down to Centro. And you can see back over in there, those apartment buildings, that's the Lorales neighborhood. As I reach the end of this pedestrian bridge, you can see down below us, there's all sorts of mechanic shops, tire shops, repair shops, kind of industrial. You can see over there the metro, that would be San Antonio Station. We've been there before. You can see the train taking off. And then we have a beautiful church right here. That's City Center, and right over there where that big the tallest building is right there, is that area is where I need to go to the DIAN. So, not a bad walk at all. We're almost there, guys. So as you can see, this is the industrial area, and you can see there's welders, there's machinists, there's all sorts of spare parts and things of that nature. But I wanted to walk over here and see this church we saw from the pedestrian bridge. It looked pretty cool. It looks pretty old. And also, this is just a fascinating neighborhood. This lady right here is just walking around selling juice and candies. It's so common in Colombia, especially Medellin. There's a lot of poverty, and there's a lot of people just doing anything and everything they can to make a few pesos to earn a living. And that's just one example. But we're definitely in the industrial area over here. If the doors are open to the church, it is. So maybe we can stick our head in here. ¿Es cerrado? No? Oh, gracias. Look at this beautiful church. And it wasn't my intention to show you guys all these churches today, but this one just happened to be on the way, and I've seen it before, and it's so old on the outside. I wanted to come in and look at it. And like so many of these churches down in Latin America, they're just so ornate and beautiful. Wow. Beautiful stained glass. Big columns and pillars. So Medellin is really a bikeable city. They have these bike trails all over, And so it makes it pretty safe, aside from the traffic and blending in. But if you can get over that, there's a lot of bike lanes and a lot of cool things to see. I'm sure I'll be taking you guys on a bike ride through this town before it's all said and done. As I reach the city center here, you can see the foot traffic is definitely increased. There's more vendors here, more activity. I guess people coming in to do their business. There's a huge shopping district down here, which I have to go to in a bit. I'll explain later. But here's a guy slicing mangoes, and he's got coconut there. And so you can see that. Someone selling some drinks. So if I understand correctly, the aduana is up in here. This is where the government buildings are. That's a pretty cool looking statue. And there's another one over there, so let's go get a little closer look. Wow, this is a pretty intense sculpture. I need to get a walking tour to see if maybe we can't get this explained. There's a lot going on. There's some horses and some men with hatchets. It looks like they're trying to climb up this with their horses through what looks to be bone and steel. And there's some women there reaching up, and it looks like some pirates or something. Wow, that's pretty insane. And just like that, we made it over here to the DIAN, Dirección de Impuestos y Aduanas Nacionales. So this is where we go to try to get our tip extended. Wow, that was easy. I gotta give Snow credit. She hooked us up again. I just took the packet of paperwork that she gave me. I handed it to him. He looked through it about 5 times, and that was it. He stapled it, stamped it, and we're good to go. One of the challenges with shopping and finding stuff in Colombia is, like, you can't just go to one big store and find everything like the Super Walmart. Now, they have those types of stores and they have lots of stuff, but I need some gauze and some bandages for Snow's knee. Now, I've gone to the drug areas or the pharmacies, and they have little kind of tiny gauze or like an Ace bandage knee wrap, neither of which will really work. And so we were talking to her trainer, and he said, we need to come over to Centro, to one of these little areas where they have medical supplies, and that's where we'll get it. So kind of odd, but that's another reason why I walked over to Centro today. Welcome to City Center. Sorry, as a tour guide, I have no idea what these little monuments are. We've driven past them several times, and I just think they're cool. More sculptures or statues from downtown. But we are here, an interesting little area, as I said earlier, with lots of activities, but we're gonna take our time and show you around. And as fate would have it, they have some bamboo in this little area. You guys know I love bamboo. Look at these little bamboo shoots. They're gonna grow up pretty fast. Here's a little street entertainer. Should never have a hard time finding a phone case in Medellin. These little carts, they push them around everywhere. They even push them around through our neighborhood. We see them from time to time. But this is the city center. This is where you come to find stuff, to buy stuff. The reason why I didn't come down here in a taxi, you can see how congested it is. Last time we came down here, it took about 40 minutes just to navigate it. We left out of here, it took us 20 minutes to find a cab. So I just decided walking would be much better and quite honestly more entertaining for myself. So you can see here, this is some real popular street food. They have some tamales, some empanadas, but fried foods, little things like that is very common here in Colombia. Here you can see sort of just a big general market, and we'll kind of walk through here. So it looks like they have plenty of clothes here, and it's actually really modern and clean compared to a lot of them that we've been to in Central America and Mexico. Really is kind of more like a mall. So this is some. Esta para mi canal de YouTube. Sí, on YouTube now, yay! So this is a pretty cool store. It's a toy store slash holiday store. Con mucho gusto. And they just spotted my camera, but there's all sorts of lights and all sorts of other stuff in here. I see why you come to do all your shopping down in this Centro district. I've seen where it's crowded, but this place is just impressive with all the different shops. And I'm really kind of blown away with the quality here, like I said, compared to some of the other markets. It's actually really clean, busy, and very nice. And there's so many different stores and so much variety of different stuff to buy. I feel like I need to go ahead and tell you about the money here, because you're probably going to see some prices as I walk through these various places, but 4,000 pesos equals $1 US. So 20,000 pesos would be $5. So 100,000 pesos, $25. You can do the math, but as you look at the prices, they are going to be in Colombian pesos. And so you'll have to do the math if you want to figure out how much stuff costs here. But I can tell you, compared to America, it's super cheap. Most of the stuff, as long as it's not made in America, is probably about half price of what you'd expect to pay up there. All depends on the item and where it came from. So we've told you about the metro, but they also have these electric trains, and I've heard about these. I've never been on one, but they go to different parts of the city, and they're supposed to be pretty nice and pretty cheap. Ooh, whole fried fish. I haven't had that. Hi. Colombia. Alright guys, you may remember I got a pouch to carry my money and my coins. I got this pouch in Mexico. It's time for a new one. I just got one. 8,000 pesos. It's about $2 leather. here in Colombia. So, new pouch. Colombia. Gracias. ¿Cómo se llama ya? ¿Cómo?
Ana.
Ana. Con mucho gusto, Ana.
Gracias.
So those little round things are buñuelos. Buñuelos, and they're very popular. And I see them all over the place, but I'm told, especially during the holidays, and they make it with another dessert. But a day of exploration, walking through all these little different food and fresh produce stands, and still looking. Look at these big giant fish right here. Wow. So I was talking about drogeria and farmacerias. This is one right here. So you can see they have a lot of stuff like your corner Walgreens or CVS would have, but they don't have the big bandages. But not to worry, we're getting close to the little medical area where they have them. But I gotta tell you, this city center just goes on and on and on. From street markets to malls, there's people everywhere, stores and shopping on all different levels. It's just absolutely amazing how so much stuff could be compacted into one small area. Now, one of the things that I've noticed down here in this little area is there's a lot more police than in other areas. Fresh batch of buñuelos being cooked up there, getting ready to come out. Walking around looking for Snow's gauze, I come to yet another church. What do you guys think? Should we stick our heads in and see what it looks like? I've reached the area that has medical supplies. So this is the street, so you can see Suerte Medicos, Economedica, Medicas. So everywhere I look right here, there's medical supply stores. And so now I just got to figure out which one has gauze and things like that, because even though I'm in the medical area, they all have their own specialties. Let's see if I can find this stuff. Hola. Lo siento, mi español es malo, pero yo necesito acá.
Esa gasita.
Sí.
Sí, señor.
Grande.
Grande.
Sí. Espera rodilla.
¿Cómo?
Espera rodilla.
Perfecto.
Steven. Ah, con mucho gusto. So, ¿qué es?
Gasa.
Gasa y
Micropore.
micropore. ¿Cuánto cuesta?
15.400.
In this one little area, there has to be, I don't know, like half a city block, there has to be 15 or 20 different medical supply stores. And they have everything you could need for medical supplies. It's so weird. And a lot of this stuff you can't get anywhere else in the city but right here. Absolutely crazy. Let's go in and look and see what the inside of this mall looks like. So this appears to be a little electronic area. So I'm seeing a lot of TVs, computers, radios, little pads, mouses, all kinds of stuff for your electronic. And then look here, they have a huge collection of vinyl and CDs. Wow, anything you need you can get right here in Centro. I'm so fascinated. So this guy has a microphone and he's calling him in. I think he's talking about the sales and all that. He's working the crowd. I'm hungry. I can't do this big long journey without getting something to eat. So I stopped here at this Typico restaurant. I'm gonna get a typical sort of traditional Colombian meal. All right, let's try this fish soup. A little bit of plantain, banana, papas, and a mild fish flavor. I love it. Love, love, love the soup here in Colombia, which is very traditional for lunch before your meal or as your meal. This is the area where you'd buy TVs. You can see he's got a big cart of TVs there. Appliances, there's some refrigerators, so washing machines, some big speakers, power tools, things like that. So this is the area. You can see all these different stores all have the basic same stuff, but this is the area where you come to buy your refrigerator. So this is the little clothing area, and there are all sorts of little clothing stands for little kids. Hola. All sorts of little clothing stores for kids here. It's crazy. As you're down here in this market, sometimes you just get caught in the melee, and there's so much noise and so many people barking at you to buy stuff, and you get in traffic jams, and it's just a real crazy, hectic, crazy, unique environment though. Ah, Colombia. Look at this place, and it just keeps on going and going. This is where you get your keys made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 key stores, and also an area where you can get sewing stuff and sewing machines. And I believe we've been on this road before, but you can see over there all the thread and sewing machines. Wow, the city seems endless.
Solo por 5.000 pesos la caja. Así que se llama tapabocas a 5.000 pesos. Tapabocas certificados. Los tapabocas totalmente aprobados.
So just outside of the market area on my way back, you can see I come into an area with more building materials. So here they have lumber, concrete, they have rough cut wood, finished cut wood. It looks like they'll cut it to size, they'll make you cabinets. There's all kinds of these stores down here. But there's the church. I couldn't resist. I had to pass through into this little mechanical area. It looks so fascinating. On the side of the roads, all the hoods are up. So all these little shops have different mechanics in them. And they all sell the parts right here. It's just funny how everything in the city is so compartmentalized. But make no bones about it, this is definitely where you come to get your car fixed. And possibly your moto. You can smell diesel, you can smell motor oil, you can smell burning rubber, you can smell all the smells you would expect. The arc, the flash arcs from the welding. If you're an auto mechanic, this is definitely your neighborhood. Unfortunately, as I said, there's a lot of homelessness here. This guy's over here doing his laundry under the bridge in the river.
If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you guys know when we put out new videos. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram to see what's going on in between videos. Cheers, guys!